Music. Gotta get the music. Should have done that first. Music. Music. Here's a song I really want to do. This is one of my favorites. It's a classic. That's my dancing. Good morning, happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to Sex with Robin on Split Radio, where we discuss kink, sex, dating, non monogamy, any and all of that good shit. My name is Robin Beach. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a former stripper, former pro dom, former nurse with experience in my brain, with experience in my brain, with experience in cardiology, psychology, and sexual health. Now I am a sex and relationship educator, consultant, and coach, and host of the show. Mandy and I created Split Radio as a platform. Well, it stands for Sex Positive Lifestyle Inclusive Talk Radio, and we wanted an inclusive, accessible for creators and for viewers. Good afternoon, hello. It is morning where I am. I am located in Vancouver, Canada, on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish and Musqueam Indigenous tribes. Yes, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it is morning for me, but it also goes across different time zones. It is 1 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. So yeah, welcome today. And yeah, anything you want to throw in the comments, you just throw that shit in the comments. We are here for it. And this week on Sex with Robin, we were going to discuss dominance and submission. Now, basically, since the beginning of the year, sort of a new year, doesn't feel super new to us, but work with what we got. I wanted to kind of break down the acronym of BDSM, which of course is pretty complicated, but stick with me. Because it's an interesting acronym. It's like BDDSSM. We talked about bondage. We've talked about discipline, and today we are talking about the D and S, which is again a very generalized comment. Dominance and submission, and I actually had someone text me with something that was really cool. I'll just read it to you, and it's basically a lot of what I wanted to discuss today. Here's what someone had sent me. I'm just going to read it. The D in BDSM stands for discipline, which incorporates all sorts of things. Yes, not just dominance and submission, but also master-slave relationships, owner-property relationships, total power exchange relationships, owner-puppy relationships, protocols, punishments, etc. It is basically the mental aspect of BDSM. Yes, and saying that the D is about dominance and submission is an oversimplification of it. I'm 99% sure you knew that. I thought maybe you were keeping it simple for the sake of your radio show. Yeah, exactly. So yes, I'm going to be talking about the dominance and submission aspect. What does that mean? So yeah, stick with me whether you're not super familiar or you're a total expert. I want to try to cover all of it. And please throw your questions and your comments in the chat because I'm right here. Now's your time. This show is live right now, but it will be airing again. This recorded show today will be airing again tonight if you missed it. So that's for you. Real quick, super duper quick, I want to mention, of course, we got to talk about the sponsors of today's episode. And today's sponsor is adamandeve.com. It is a website with all kinds of toys, sex toys. There's even some kink stuff on there. there's like lingerie, there's a whole bunch of kind of sex stuff available, and it's a very, very wide range, which I think makes it really accessible because there's some really good high quality stuff on there, and there's also like some more of the simpler things and the staples, so I feel like it's quite accessible in that way. But if you use here we are, I had to, if you use my promo code SWR, you will get 50% off, as in half off almost any one item, plus free shipping in the US and Canada. So go check that out. If you want to treat yourself to a nice toy, you can use my promo code and get half off. And I think that just increases the accessibility. So there you have it, adamandeve.com. Promo code SWR for 50% off almost any one item, plus free shipping in the US and Canada. So woo woo. Thank you for that. And now let's talk. And boop, 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 boop. Let's talk about the dominance and submission. Again, dominance and submission is very oversimplified, but it's essentially a power exchange, a consensual power exchange that is occurring between two or more people. And it is important to mention that it is all consensual. Okay, you sit down, you have certain agreements, you discuss things. Okay, and I feel like I'm gonna bring up 50 Shades of Grey just because I'm so fucking awful. You can tell they tried to incorporate that a little bit, where they sit down and they have like their contract, but it doesn't get super well discussed. The main character reading the bottom is like reading and doesn't understand half of what's going on, and they even say fuck the contract, and they don't handle it well. And if you have some kind of, which you should have some kind of discussion, it doesn't have to be a contract or written on paper. Personally, I like questionnaires. A yes, no, maybe, or even, on a scale of 1 to 5, things that might be interested in it. I am really, really forgetful. I blame ADHD and, being bipolar. Like when I'm manic, I have a very, very horrible memory. And so, yeah, writing things down is good. And it's nice to come back to that. Whether to get some ideas for something fresh or just as a reminder for certain things. But please remember that at any time, you should be able to come back and renegotiate or rediscuss. You should be doing that. You should be doing regular check-ins that are like, okay, this is working really great for me. Maybe this needs some altering, or even just, can we talk about this? So if you have a kind of power exchange dynamic, just know that you're not signing some contract that now you signed your life away and there's no going back. There's always consent involved, and that consent needs to be there. That always needs to be respected. Oh, we've got some comments here. We've got a question here. Trivia question. When was the BDSM acronym created? I don't know. Does anyone else? Because I'm sure someone knows. I'm going to Google it right now. Let me know if you know when it was created. I'm going to Google it. When was the BDSM acronym created? People have. Ooh, the one it says some results may be explicit. Parental controls. The first known use of BDSM was in 1991, is what I've got here. But that's all it says. I'd have to go searching through the web. I'm doing a doggy paddle through the web to find that information, but that's what I have here. Fun fact. And we've got, Peter, hi, good morning. A few mainstream media items on BDSM actually show negotiation or establishment of consent. That's the big thing, unfortunately, because it is true that if you don't have consent with BDSM, it is not BDSM. It's in fact abuse or assault. consent, it has to be there. Otherwise, it's not kink. It's just assault and crime and being really horrible. And I wonder, a lot of the times why it is that they don't show a lot of the consent on there. And so I think of what are the representations in media. That's actually a topic we've discussed before, and I'd like to come back to it again. Is how BDSM is represented in media. And I think the reason they take a lot the consent out is because maybe they're just trying to project that fantasy of the dominance. It's more exciting maybe without the consent, but like really truly without proper consent, it is not BDSM. Can't say that again. In that regard, 50 Shades of Grey is better than most. Yeah, interestingly, you can tell that they pushed in the movie for them to have that sit down in 50 Shades of like talking about the contract and discussing what things mean. But then they kind of just say fuck the contract. So it's still awful. But it's actually quite sad to think that, yeah, 50 Shades of Grey is better than most in terms of consent in portrayed in media in BDSM. You know, you think of the show Bonded. Again, great. I was quite entertained by Bonded. I thought a lot of it was really funny and a lot of it was pretty good. The consent is not there a lot. Like a lot, not a lot. I feel like it improves a little bit. I think with the I think it was the second season. There's the secretary, great story, but again, not a ton of consent going on. Let's see, we got another comment here. I watch King Noir and jet setting Jasmine scenes, and they're really great about including it in the recording. Ooh, I am not familiar, and I am totally going to check that out. Awesome. Thank you so much for all this. This is great. So I feel like it's fair to say we've established you have to have consent in any kind of BDSM arrangement or dynamic. I really stress that, of course, with a power exchange relationship, because that's people can get manipulated, people can get really abused without that consent. So make sure that is discussed. And please keep in mind whatever dynamic. Oh, for the last one, they're my favorite porn stars, King Noir and jet setting Jasmine scenes. Okay, yay, porn. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. Thank you. Yeah, if you are in a power exchange dynamic, you still have the option to leave. You still have the option to say these are my boundaries, and if they're not going to be respected, then you leave. So just make sure that that's there. But yes, power exchange dynamics, I think, are really fascinating. I enjoy, and a lot of it comes down to control. And I think kind of playing with control, or even having an escape with control. And I can say, as a former pro dom or a dominatrix, it's kind of a 90s term, we call it pro dom. But you could say dominatrix if you want. When I was working as a pro dom, I found, and this is very, very common, a lot of high powered people that wanted my services. And that makes a lot of sense. People with a lot of power in their lives want to give up that power and control as an escape. And so they want to give up that control in a safe environment and to play with that. And I can relate to that in a lot of ways. Y'all know I'm not really very submissive, but I do enjoy bottoming. Let's break that down real quick. Dominance meaning the person in charge, the person with the control in the scenario or dynamic. Submission being the person kind of giving up their control and giving that to the dominant person. A top is a person that is doing the action. Okay, so in the example of spanking, a top would be the person that is spanking. The bottom would be the person that is receiving, the spanking. Okay. So you might hear me use the phrase like S types or D types. S types meaning a submissive dynamic type. So that could be children. Dude, I'm working. I'm sorry. Can you wait until I'm done? Okay. I will come be there soon, okay? Okay. Thanks, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. My kids are at home sick today. They have colds. They're two snot balls, and I'm trying to trust them both to play on their own while I do this. Happy Monday. Um, okay. So a person that is dominant might not necessarily be the top. Just so you know that. Oh yeah, we've got a great comment here. The top is the giver and the bottom is the receiver. Person that is dominant is the one in control. The person that is submissive is the person that is giving their control. Um, and so that covers a whole range of dynamics when I say things like S type. Because as mentioned early on, there's all kinds of different power dynamics. There's, dominant submission, there's master slave relationships, owner property, total power exchange, puppy relationships, littles, so when I say S type, I feel like it is typically the submissive person in that dynamic. And I don't know why I'm doing all these hand gestures, but so just for that clarity's sake. But yeah, I am not a very submissive person, but I do enjoy being topped. I enjoy receiving. I enjoy bottoming. I am a masochist. There are a couple people that I can feel submissive around. It's rare, but I can. And I struggle, but I love it. Like it's very complicated because I would say I definitely have control issues. I crave being in control. I want to be in control of things. Um, I want to see things done properly, or I want to know that it's getting done right. I get anxiety when I don't have control. And so on the rare occasion that I will submit and be in a submissive dynamic I would do it in play. I'm not a 24/7 person typically, but it is very therapeutic. Here's another saying we get a lot in the kink scene. Kink can be therapeutic. It is not therapy. Okay. I do see a therapist. I have mental health concerns and I work on managing them as best I can with the resources that I have. And I am privileged that I have, I think, more resources than others. I do what I can. But I do really enjoy every now and then giving up that control because it's in a safe environment, safer environment to give up that control, and it can feel really good. I really love topping and being dominant because I love control. I love being in control, and for someone to gift me their control feels like a huge honor and privilege and a really good time. I very happily love to accept the gift of someone wanting to submit and give me control. Very much love that. How are you? Do you feel, throw that in the comments if you like, what that is like for you, if what giving up control or being in control is like for you, and if that what that makes you feel like. Um, and yeah, you can do that in just a one scene, which would be an environment that you're going to be doing some BDSM activity in. Or it can be in a relationship that is outside of the actual BDSM or sex scenario. Some people have a live-in relationship that is a DS. Some people really like online DS relationships, where they can have protocols, whatever it is. Kink, like whatever you like, as long as everyone's knowledgeable and consenting, I guarantee you it exists. I promise you it exists. And we've got a comment here. Control in a scene is negotiated and not a given. Yes, always negotiating for these things. I'm not just going to assume that someone is gifting me. And that's why I say it's a gift. I really enjoy and I see it as a gift that is offered. And then I get to be like, okay, yes, I would love to. Let's sit and talk about what that means before we go jumping in, because the last thing anyone wants is for someone to be harmed. And we got another comment here. Submitting in the bedroom is so relieving for me. Oh, and it's Mandy. Yeah, it is nice just to be like, and I'm trying not to speak for you, Mandy. I feel like I can relate, but yeah, it is nice to just give up that control as someone that is a parent with a job and responsibilities, an adult, and you got to do all this shit. And it's nice to just kind of like hand that over, um, and let somebody else be in control for a little while. It feels good. I got another comment here. I love to top and be in control, giving a bottom what they want. Oh yes, yes. Now that makes me think of a dynamic called service topping, which means that you enjoy topping, meaning you love doing the actions and giving the actions, but you're not necessarily being dominant. A service top is somebody that is essentially on the more submissive side of the agreement. Because I'm not submissive and I am a masochist, I do enjoy bottoming. I love service tops. Basically, someone I can say, I want you to beat me. I want you to, list off all the things that I want. And then they will give that to me. It is a service they're providing. They're topping, but they are in service to me. Have you heard of that? And how awesome does that sound? I know that Brandon has said my co-parent and my co-parent and my husband, as I call him, Brandon. He's been very open about this several times in public, so I feel comfortable saying this. That he spent a long time really enjoying being a top, he loves flogging, he loves tying, he loves hitting, he loves doing a lot of sexual topping. And so he assumed for a long time that meant he was dominant, but it never felt right. And then years later, he was like, you know what? I don't think I'm dominant. I enjoy topping. And now he identifies much more as a service top. So I think it's one of those things where you can't really assume, because assuming makes an ass of you and me. Let's see, we got another comment here. I top in my everyday life in almost every facet. Sorry. Giving up that control in the bedroom is amazing. And that was Mandy again. Thank you, Mandy. Yeah, exactly. I see another child. Monster, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I still have some more time. Can you go play? Thank you. Trying to parent and do this at the same time, talking about control. Yes, a lot of us that top in our everyday lives like to give that up, and that's okay. I've got another comment here. I don't think I know well enough what category I would put myself in. But when you asked us to tell you, my first thought was about bottoming with this electricity wand thing that is called a violet wand. And the top would tease me so much. And I really enjoyed the back and forth with, oh, there's a dot, dot, dot. Oh, with them. There's one word. The back and forth with them. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, you're referring to a violet wand. Those are cool. I feel like I should do a video on violet wands. Okay. Next week, I'm doing sadism and masochism. Week after that, I'll do violet wands for you, just for you. Yeah, there's something about the lack of control that is a really big, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very tempting for sure. It's very appealing. That's what I'm thinking of. And people in outside of BDSM practice ways of giving up control, and I'm going to give a really big example with my mental health and with others. Y'all know I love horror movies and horror shows. I've always just loved like gruesome, weird, fucked up, scary, grotesque. Like I love it. Give it all to me. I love true crime. I love serial killer stuff. And my youngest really, really loves, as he calls, spooky things. And was talking to his counselor, trying to make sure I was being a good parent because my youngest has anxiety and he has night terrors. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be exposing him to things that are going to be giving him nightmares. So, of course, it would be like child appropriate, spooky things, like Dora the Explorer on Halloween kind of thing. And so I was asking the counselor, I'm like, is this okay that I'm showing him? He loves this and he always wants more. He's obsessed with zombies and the spooky, scary skeleton song. And the therapist said, well, it's actually quite common for people with anxiety to love horror. And in my head, as she's talking, I was like, oh shit, this is me. Um, for people with anxiety to love horror because we are scared all the time, a lot of the time, because we have anxiety. But watching a horror movie, for example, is a way of putting ourselves in a situation where we are scared, but we are in control of that. It's something that is separate from us. It's a TV. It's something I can see and it's a physical thing. I can turn it off. I can pause it. I can rewind. I can fast forward. I'm the one in control of watching this horror movie. So it helps me feel more in control of my fear. So I do believe there's a lot of that goes into kink, and I'm steering off from like the DS a little bit, but I hope I'm bringing that home, that a lot of kink, not all of it, but I would argue a lot of it is putting us in these scenarios, but in a way that we are in control and we get to do fucked up shit. I want to do really fucked up shit, and I love doing super weird, even just to try it. But I'm doing it in a situation that is as safe as possible and is consensual and something that we can, for the most part, try to control. We got a comment here from Peter. The alpha in the office, sub in the dungeon trope. Maybe because highly paid people are more likely to have money for pro-doms. Yes, that is another thing too. There's a lot of privilege with those high-powered people. A lot, yeah. They have the money to afford it. And a lot of what people are looking for when hiring a pro dom is confidentiality. That's a lot of what you're paying for, because there are usually events and there's FetLife and there's, things that you can do. There are kinky people out there. But I do believe a lot of it is for that they're paying for is the confidentiality, because they also have that high power position. So they can't be outed for whatever reason. Maybe they're in politics, a lot of lawyers, CEOs, school teachers even, that really can't be out. Of course, they don't usually have a ton of money. Teachers should have a lot more money. Anyways, and I will say, as a pro dom, the most busy time was lunchtime, because people are needing the confidentiality, whether they have a spouse, or they just have a very public job or position. And so they go and see pro doms on their lunch break. Just saying. Yeah, it was a busy time for me. Okay. So, dominance and submission. That's the thing. There's a ton of different avenues, and it is all a lot more complicated than just dominance and submission, right? Um, you might realize, okay, I like topping, but I don't really feel very submissive, and how's that going to work for you? And you don't have to be one thing. I got to mention the switches. I'm a switch, obviously. Like I like being on all sides of things. I love trying new things. I love just experiencing everything. And so yeah, I'm a switch. That means I can be dominant. I could be, rarely, but I can be submissive. I like topping. I like bottoming. And it's frustrating sometimes. It's frustrating because I have seen switches be, I would say, looked down upon. Like, oh, well, you're not a real submissive because you top, or you can't be a real dominant because you sometimes submit. What, can we get over our shit, people? Like, literally everything is a spectrum, and even like within the queer community, there's a lot of like bi erasure and people that are within the spectrum that are pansexual, like, oh, gold star gay. Don't get me started. I think I'm just ranting now, but yeah. And you see that all the time in like the lesbian community. There, people can be really turfy, or they could just be like, well, I don't want to be with you because you've been with a man, and this is true. Okay, there's a thing called gold star gay, meaning you have a gold star, you're considered gold star gay because you have never been with somebody of the opposite sex. And again, that's also really transphobic too. I feel like a lot of that binary of sexuality is also kind of is quite transphobic, because gender is also a spectrum, sexuality is a spectrum, and yes, kink is a spectrum as well. Okay, and being somewhere in the middle or being both or being neither doesn't make you less than. So I am really, really sick and tired of seeing switches be treated really shitty or not taken seriously, right? Oh, here we go. Switch life over here, Mandy. Yes. I okay. I when I first came into the scene in public, I only bottomed for a long time. And in the beginning, I thought I was just a bottom, but then I started really exploring, and I topped, but never in public for a long time. And I was even pro doming before people knew that I topped at all. Before I topped the first time in public, I was scared, thinking people were going to be looking down on me, be kind of condescending, like, oh, look at like little submissive bottom Robin. She's topping and it's adorable. I felt that pressure in the community. Not that it was given to me. People didn't actually respond that way. I was really fortunate that when I did top for the first time at a public event, there was actually like people started gathering and watching, and I was trying really hard not to focus on that at all. I wanted to focus on my partner, and on the scene and not get distracted. But it was in the back of my head. I'm like, oh my god, people are starting to watch, and in my head, in my insecure head, I just thought of people going like, that's adorable, and like extra judging me. But actually afterwards, I had people go, wow, like that was a really great scene. That was so cool. I didn't know you topped. Um, so I had a positive response, but it took me so long to get there because of my fear of the judgment from switching. Got more comments here. I think switches make better tops and bottoms because they have experienced it, says Mandy. I think that is, yeah, it's pretty overgeneralized. I do think that, like, yeah, if you're just a top, you can still be a really amazing top. But I totally also agree with what you're saying. Um, the switches I've met, myself included, have met me, but others as well, can be really, really fucking mean tops. Um, and I know I've had this said about me as well, because I'm like, I've done this. I know you got this, and I can often see my partner and be like, I can see the expression, or I can see the processing that's happening, and I can relate to that, and I kind of know what's happening. So I think that, yeah, that experience is valuable. I'm not saying that everyone needs to have it, because not everyone's a switch, but I do believe that my switching has given me plenty of experience, and insight into some of what is happening with my partner. Got another comment here. I am a sadomasochist switch. I am submissive to my master and enjoy topping and bottoming. Yay! That sounds like fun. Oh, I love it. Yes. I love all of the things. Yay for the switches out there. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not submissive enough or dominant enough, or if you're a true, or if you're a real. I can't listen to any phrase that starts with that. I just can't. The you're not blank enough, or if you are a real blank or a true blank, I just no, no, not here for it. We're here to be open and accepting of what people like. Um real quick. I wanted to mention I've got my soap dicks. This one is just wrapped in saran wrap to keep it from sweating, because if you leave soap out for too long, it will sweat. But anyway, so it's wrapped in saran wrap. It's a soap dick, and that looks awful because it's wrapped in saran wrap. I actually made this. It's soap, and all you gotta do is wet your hands, stroke it, lather, rinse, repeat. Fun way to keep your hands clean, which is obviously very important. Keep your practice up and actually have fun. I have these in my bathroom, and it's so much fun washing my hands. So win-win for everyone, especially during these times. If you want to get one, I will give you the link right now. You can always just go to my website, sexwithrobin.com. Oh, it wants me to sign in again. Fucking. I guess I'm going to do that. So in the meantime, I guess I can also talk about the other sponsor for this show, and that is One Condoms. If you go to myonecondoms.com, then you can myonecondoms.com. You can actually download a free sizing kit, and you can measure yourself, and you can get essentially a custom size condom. They have over like 60 sizes based on different lengths and girths, and a proper fitting condom will change your sex life and is way more effective. It's way more enjoyable. Highly recommend. If you go to myonecondoms.com, you can do that. And actually, Mandy has a promo code. Where's Mandy's promo code? Oh, I don't see it. It's gone. It's gone. Mandy, what's your promo code for the condoms? I don't see it here. Tisk. Oh, yeah. Here she is. Fuck a bunch of gatekeepers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let us know what your, is it MLLH for 15% off? Do. And I'm sorry, I was trying to get you the link. I was so prepared. And then it logged me out. Balls. Now I'm trying to remember which password it is. How's your Monday going, everyone? Seriously. I got sick kids at home. Trying to have my energy, trying to have my shit together. I really want to see events happen again. I don't know if that's going to happen and when. Okay, now am I logged in? No, I'm not. Fuck. Give me a sec. I'll have to find it later because it's distracting me. Yeah, go to sexwithrobin.com. You can grab one of my soap dicks. And I was trying to get the link I just created a new link. It's actually been requested by a lot of, well, not a lot, but a number of people have requested that I have a donate option for my channel. And so I created, it's called Donate by the Dollar. You should be able to find that on my website, Sex with Robin. I was just trying to find the link that like literally you can click and donate $1. Or you can just, click the items and increase your items list and donate however many dollars you want. And even if it's just $1, it really does help support this channel because, Mandy and I created this platform, which is not free and is a lot of time and work, but we want to make it free for content creators. And so to help support us with our time and the money that we spend, the best way that you can do that is using our promo codes for stuff like that whenever we have, which by the way, adamandeve.com, SWR, 50% off. When we say give promo codes, we get some kickback for that. So it does help with our work, helps us continue what we're doing and even expand because we want to get more content creators on here. More are coming in February. That will be announced soon. Or you could buy merch. Merch is always a really big help. I used to sell tons of merch at events, and now it's like none. So, so merch, always you can find on my website, sexwithrobin.com. And even if you can't support financially, word of mouth for my one-on-one lessons and coaching is really, really effective. Sharing on the social medias, that kind of thing. Any kind of support really does help. So I'm going to see if I can get that for you now. I am not a robot. Oh, no, that's not the right password. Is it this one? Is it? It's not. It's not. Let's try. No. Okay, last try. Last try. This is. Oh, it wants me to say I'm not. Okay, so I have to click all the squares with traffic lights. Oh my God. That looks right. Yay, I'm not a robot. That was the wrong password. Okay, fuck it. You just have to go on my website, sexwithrobin.com. Oh my goodness. Okay. Dominance on submission. Let's continue on here. We've got a little bit of time left. Dominance and submission. Yes, tons of different kinds of dynamics, and that could be within one given scene. That can be a 24/7 kind of thing, and just always make sure that you are able to check in. So I don't want to hear, and you do hear this, a bottom or an S type, someone that is submissive, or an S type. That could be a pony, right? It could be a little. Um, always has the option of consent. Even if you've agreed on something, you can say, you know what? And there are ways that you can do that, especially like mid scene. I like to. It is hard for S types or bottoms to speak up when something is difficult. There's a lot of fear of disappointing your top. There's a lot of it obviously might not be in their nature, or just in that mindset, that submissive mindset. It can be very difficult to speak up or seem like you're being in charge. So I usually like to recommend to basically ask for permission to speak up, which I don't see why a good top wouldn't give them permission, or offer them at some point the opportunity to speak up. Sir, may I please say something? Sir, may I please? I know I've heard people ask for help, or just say, "Sir, help me," or "Ma'am," or "Mistress," whatever works. But yeah, that's what I usually tell them. Like, just ask to speak up. Sir, may I please say something? Yes, what is it? And I try to, as a top, I try to tell my partners it's about giving me information. Is it back? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This is awful. I might have to go. Okay, can people hear me now? Because now I can hear myself. Yes. All right. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Um, basically, yeah. Oh, we've got a comment here. Thank you, everyone. And sorry, we've had weird audio issues today, and I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of it. Here's a comment. I don't see my submission as a gift that I give away, where I expect nothing in return because I do have explanations. Yes, That is a really good thing. I sometimes view it as like as a gift. Um, but it's not like I'm taking it away or like you still don't have needs. Um, I as a top, I always like, that's so nice of you. Like I feel so honored that you would uh allow me to have some control. Um So, but I can see that you don't have to see it as a gift, and that's a really great thing to discuss with your partner. Um, and yeah, when I see it as a gift, yeah, it's also an arrangement because I'm not like not expecting anything in return. I just feel so honored when someone wants to allow me to have control of a situation or their body or what's going on. So that's I know that's been discussed. I think that's really interesting. And of course, I don't see one way as all the ways. As I've been saying, everything is quite literally a spectrum. Every person is different. Every dynamic is different, and every day is different, even within like a DS dynamic. So that's something that just needs to be navigated as you go. Here we go. Another comment from Peter. Thank you, Peter, for joining. I think it's important for subs to think of themselves as coming from a position of value. And I don't sub just to just anybody. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. You're and maybe that's a little bit of why I might see I'm just so honored. It's like someone's giving me a nice thing when they give me that ability to control. But of course they have value, and it's not there should be an exchange. It's called a power exchange, right? So it's not like you're just giving me that and I'm just taking it and that you still don't have rights or value. Bottoms have so much value, and it is so important for bottoms to know their boundaries and their limits and to enforce them. And that is, I know that can be very, very difficult. So making sure that you try to have a healthy relationship and to have check-ins and negotiations and things like that, and to say, you know what, I would like to see, um, I would like you to show me the value that you see in me, or I want to feel more valuable, or I want to, then that needs to be discussed, right? But that's a really good way of putting that, Peter. I love that. And I do think it is absolutely essential that bottoms make sure that, you know, they understand their value. And it's important for tops to make sure that they show that in their relationship, whatever that dynamic looks like, that everyone is being respected and that everyone is being treated like a human being. I mean, depending on your dynamic, you still gotta treat them as a human being, even if it's a puppy or you want to do humiliation. That is in your dynamic, but you're still a human being that is choosing to do this and choosing to engage in this behavior and choosing to engage in these activities. And then you can go with that. But it really does come down to discussing things and making sure that everyone is on board and to check in. What's working, what's not working, how can we make this better? So that's what I have to say. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today, and apologies for audio issues and me getting signed out of stuff. So try to deal with all the millions of passwords and emails that I have. Thank you so much for joining and for your patience today. Last little bit, let's wrap this up. Any last thoughts, comments, questions on dominance and submission? I mean, it's obviously a huge topic, so I'm kind of being very vague, but I think that's just the important thing, is to remember that, yeah, everything is a spectrum. People are all complicated and different. It's hard to oversimplify things, so why not explore them a little bit and think about what that means to you. What does dominance and submission mean to you? What interests you? Um, if you're really, really new to it, I usually would recommend um, exploring, even if that's like in porn or something like that. If you just want to explore that, as a pronom, I would do that. If someone wasn't quite sure, I'd be like, send me some of the porn that you really, really like, And then we try to figure out, okay, what is it that you like about that porn? What is it that interests you? What is it that turns you on or charges you? And to make sure that, yeah, you're playing within your boundaries and your wants and needs. Here we are. We got a comment. My wants, needs, and desires were vetted to align with my master. Very nice. And we have a link here. Oops. What is this link? Submissiveguide.com. This is not an affiliate, but oh, what is this? Oh, lots of, oh, okay, cool. So it looks like there's ebooks and articles and stuff like that, different series. Very cool. Yeah, I'm going to check that out later. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so as long as everyone's knowledgeable and consenting, you're good. I support you. And that is what BDSM is. Okay, everyone has to be knowledgeable and consenting, or it's not BDSM. And so next week, oh, we've got a big week coming up. This Thursday, Mandy and I will be doing our Thirsty Thursday and our Rage Against the Screen, as we will do a Netflix party watch of Sex Education. We'll be doing season 1, episode 3. That is at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. And so what we'll be doing is you need the Teleparty app. Again, not affiliated. It's free, but it's easy. That's just what I've done so that we can actually watch the show on Netflix. And that part won't be airing, but we will also be airing as we talk about it and discuss and react to the show. And then that way we're not screwing up any major licensing rights and stuff like that, right? So that's going to be happening on Thursday. And then next week on Sex with Robin, I'm going to be discussing the sadomasochism side of things. We're going to talk about sadism and masochism. I'm super excited. I am both. I am both of the things, and I can't wait to discuss pain in terms of sadism and masochism next week on Sex with Robin on Split Radio. Thank you so much for joining. This episode is recorded live, but again, it will be aired. This recording is going to be aired later tonight. Is it 5? Is it 5 p.m. or is it 6? I think we're sticking with the 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. Right after the Many Loves Lunch Hour. That was aired just before the show, but we're going to rerun it again tonight. So go check that out. If you want to keep up to date on things, there's a Facebook group called Split Radio. There's also my Facebook group, Sex with Robin on Split Radio. Actually, I think it just says Sex with Robin right now, but I have to add Split Radio to it. The Split Radio stands for Sex Positive Lifestyle Inclusive Talk Radio. If you're interested in putting some of your content on here, it can be a live stream or it can be a recording. Contact myself or Mandy. All my social medias are at Sex with Robin, and that's where you can find me on all the social medias. And thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers. I love y'all. And just remember, if everything that's going on is knowledgeable and consenting, I'm here with you and I support you. Okay. There's too much shame and blame that goes around in terms of just having a sexuality, let alone what our sexuality might look like. So again, I support you. I'm here with you. No shame here. And take care of yourselves. Love y'all. Mwah. Have a good week. Bye.